Uncover the wisdom of the feminine through soulful conversations on spirituality, healing, relationships, self-leadership, sovereignty, and so much more. I'm your host, Tamar, Gail, feminine embodiment facilitator, feminine arts mentor, and soul tantrika. In this podcast, my goal is to take you deeper into the world of the feminine, stepping more into your feminine pleasure, power, authentic truth, and your sovereignty. Welcome to the Feminine Codes podcast. Welcome back to the Feminine Codes podcast, and today I am having a wonderful conversation with Padmini Pandya. Today we were talking about, well, there's actually quite a bit of things that we're going to jump into, but what I was really interested in is the liminal space where we find peace, acceptance, and move forward even when there is no closure, no apology, and no right answer. I've looked up your story. You've traveled the world. You've gone on these amazing adventures, and you document and talk about all of your adventures on your YouTube channel. And so I really want to direct everyone to go watch her YouTube channel because she is a sister, a soul sister in this aspect of traveling the world. But with that, we have so many experiences that we live that helps us to be able to share our magic and our teachings and our lessons with the world. That's why I'm having her come on today, because I really feel like through her story, she has so much wisdom to share with us. Padmini, welcome, and thank you for joining me. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. If you would like to share a little bit about your story, about your childhood, or how you grew up, that kind of leads us into where you found yourself in this liminal space and how you moved through that and found yourself in that acceptance of it.
I will do my best. For people who don't know it, my channel on YouTube is called Pieces of Miss Minnie. And it's where I'm sharing the lessons of my life, one memory at a time. I have a pretty eclectic, multinational, multicultural background. I'm East Indian, of East Indian descent. My family is from East Africa for 4 generations. Well, 3 generations. My father's family is from Kenya. My mother's is from Uganda. Both sides during Idi Amin, and basically as, broke down in the 60s, emigrated to the UK, which is where my parents met and I was born. And then we moved to the States in the late 80s. And because of some professional decisions my parents made, we moved around quite a bit. And so I lived all over America, and really kind of, for being a non-American, I feel, well, I am obviously now, but for not having been born here, I feel like in a way, like I know this country so much better than a lot of Americans who were born here, simply because I've gotten to live in so many places. But, that came with a lot of challenges as well. There was a lot of moving during school. I went to a lot of schools before I started my undergrad, and then, even from there, I went on to I have 4 degrees, and I was married, divorced. I moved to Asia. I lived in Bangkok for about 2 years and Singapore for about 7. I'm an organizational psychologist and corporate strategist. So I was working for some very large multinational tech companies. I got a lot of experience. I had already been a traveler before I moved to Asia, but, certainly got to know the region very well in those years. And then eventually actually really burned out. And that was the beginning of my spiritual awakening when I was about 39. I'm 45 now. And really, really burned out while my career was doing quite well, but I didn't have any more juice in me. And I kind of, to a certain extent, sort of lost the plot. My surprise, it was like my career had was at its, I was on game, but I really wasn't sure. I was like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing for decades to come? And, at that time I'd been in Asia for almost a decade. My parents who are aging were here. I'd missed out on a lot as well. And Asia never really, as fabulous as it was never home. So to go to your question really about the liminal spaces, I think when you're somebody who never really fits in to begin with, it was like my background was always different. We moved around. I was the new kid a lot. I was already quirky. I'm not white. Like there was no way for me to blend in as much as I wanted to. But in a way it was like I've understood energies, I've understood people. So like socially, I think I am inherently a chameleon, and that has probably served me well, but also really you become a very agile person when there's no really any concept of home to begin with, when you're not really from anywhere, when you're already an outsider on multiple dimensions and levels and situations. It's that like I've never really felt the ground under me. And so I think then moving into relationships and things where sometimes there is no closure, like frankly, that is a fact of human life. And maybe I have probably, it's a combination of like perhaps being able to embrace it a bit better than most, but also just having been put in so many situations where either it's the people I've attracted into my life and vice versa, or the relationships that have not really warranted, that didn't get closure, maybe didn't deserve closure, or sometimes like no closure is closure as well. People's like non-reaction, people silence, that is a response as well. Everybody is capable of picking up the phone or sending a message or being adult enough to have a conversation, and not wanting that or not pursuing that's also an answer as well, whether it's an answer of their courage or whether it's an answer of like their lack of respect. Whatever it is, the situations vary. But my mom always used to say indecision is a decision because it will have consequences. As much as you don't want to make a decision, situation, circumstances, everything is moving. So even your lack of decision is a decision. And everybody is moving. Life does not stop for anybody under any circumstance. And so, in that same, there are multiple dimensions, like the never having really a sense of home, never really feeling the ground under me, understanding that indecision is a decision, understanding that people's behavior and their silence is also a very loud response in both directions. I also have utilized silence when I need to send a very clear message.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a very intelligent words of wisdom from your mother, because I wasn't taught that I remember of sometimes an answer is an answer. And so I see a lot of women come through, and especially when it has to do with relationships, right? And they're,
Yes.
he's not answering me, he's not responding, he's not getting back to me. And I think that's something that we as women need to learn. Like, that is an answer.
Yes.
Choose
Yeah.
yourself. Like, don't be waiting around. And if we could learn that whenever we're children, that would save us a lot of heartache.
The excuses, it's like we all know, like if you are busy, being
Uh-huh.
a busy person in this day and age means you're on your phone a lot.
Yes.
Like, yes, you're working as well, but like you are very much digitally connected. And everybody, like presidents have marriages, CEOs have marriages. So
Yeah.
it's like, don't think that you can't maintain that people, if people are too busy, I'm so busy working that like they don't have people. Everything is about priorities. Everything you prioritize the people you love or the people you care about. Like, don't buy these bullshit excuses, excuse my language, but of I'm so busy, sorry I didn't get, no, 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 no. Everybody knows how to prioritize. We get back to whoever we care about.
That's true.
And that is absolutely, once in a while, yeah, you forget to return a text, but in those circumstances, no. It's not like someone's forgotten who you are. That is very intentional. So see your way out.
If only I could tell myself, my younger self, that. So,
You
oh
and me
well,
both.
yeah, right. The lessons we learn as we get older. I think also I grew up kind of feeling, although I grew up in a small town and I knew everyone and I never left. I think for some of us, there's also that sense that we are different anyway, and
Yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah.
I think you did mention it. I don't know if it was the resilience earlier when we were speaking. We talked about resilience and how whenever you don't fit in, do you feel like that kind of made you more resilient and having to move around all the time, having to meet new people, this consistent moving and as a child, because as we know, as a child, especially in the early like formative years, having that groundedness and that rootedness is such an important aspect of
Yeah.
of growing up.
Yeah, it did it make me resilient. Yes, it was also exhausting. It was also really painful. I think I have carried a lot of pain with me that I have not really, and probably even still to this day, I don't really understand the enormity of it and the weight of it because I don't know what it's like otherwise. And so
Mm.
only now am I putting it down. But this is like, now this is a reflection of my relationship also with time. And while, yes, my heart has been broken, yes, there has been a lot of sadness and sorrow and grief that I have had to carry. Some other consequences are, people who have children with the wrong person, and those are lasting consequences. Those are permanent. And so now you are stuck with this fool for the rest of your life. Like, thankfully, that hasn't happened to me. So, in one respect, like, while it's been internal, there's actually not really been, concrete external mistakes made in that regard. And so I still managed to get a lot of education. I still managed to like really build a solid career. And I'm really glad I was able to take care of myself in that respect and not, things could have worked out very differently. Like there are a lot of very easy wrong turns one can make in that moment. And I'm glad I never really, frankly, never really saw any of them as worth it. And that actually saved me a lot, even though like my heart was hurt. I also understood to like I think like my survival instincts have been stronger than I've given them credit for. Or all my angels watching over me, like one way or another, like somehow I have navigated, landed on my feet. So while like the pain internally has been immense, thankfully I have not been up against like insurmountable circumstances because frankly, I don't think I would have been good at being like a mom or something. Like, I don't like that's not, I've got skills, but like pickups and drop offs and like food and doctor's appointments and like, a lot of like manual labor. Like, I'm like not good at that stuff. I'm good at like emotional, spiritual stuff. like and like leave me out of it. Like very much a cat. Like
Oh, that cat
like
energy, I
there
love
there
it.
yeah, there's a lot of like personal space.
My dog's
Like
looking
it
at
is
me.
on my terms. Like
Totally. Yes. And there's a space for everything, right? We need every type of archetype in this world to
yes.
embody. Like we need the warrior and the priestess and the queen and the mother and the lover. We need all of us.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes, there are a lot of different types of women that have like that are coming out to play and have been playing for a while. And I am the non-mother type. Like, unless you're a cat. If you have fur and ears and a tail, I am your mother. Like, otherwise, like,
Oh, you have no amount to how much I needed that today. So that conversation right there. Oh. There's a reason that we're
I
having this
am the mother of
conversation today.
cats.
I love it.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
Is there a space and another place in your life where you feel like you've had to move through this energy as well? Like the energy of accepting different aspects of your life. And obviously, motherhood was one you knew 100%. Like, that is
Yeah,
not me. That's
no,
not me.
no. But you mean the lack of closure? That
Yes. Yes. When
I
there's,
yeah, I mean, I think the hardest lesson that I learned was a lesson I deserved. I got what I deserved. It was and I think that's when I had already understood that some things don't have closure, but when my ex-husband passed away like 3 odd years ago, and we had been divorced for about 10 years, and as we didn't have kids, there wasn't too much intertwining us once we were divorced, and I moved to Asia, so I made separation quite absolute. I didn't know how sick he was, and I found out he was sick a few months before he passed away, and I didn't really know the extent, um, and that it was potentially terminal. And I tried to see him a couple times, and he wouldn't see me. And I respected that. I understood that. If the shoe had been on, if the roles had been reversed, because I was the one who left the marriage, I was the one who wanted out, and I left. There were a lot of things about how I handled that I'm happy with, about when we divorced and when we split up. I didn't cause any trouble. It was a very easy, fast, clean divorce. I made my way in the world by myself. He had given me a very good life in my 20s and had really taken care of me, but it was money he earned, and it was fine. As a man, he had more than done his job, and I went through my 20s very, very comfortably. And I would do that all again. I would do it exactly the same way. But I think what I owed him was more of an explanation. And I don't think even I understood. I understood to a certain degree, but I think it took even me a couple years to process the divorce. And it was probably only until I was in Singapore. It was kind of early on when I got to Singapore that for one reason or another, really the weight of that divorce actually hit me. So it was a couple years after when I really processed it. I wanted him to find somebody else. I wanted him to have kids. I wanted him, I wanted it to work out for him. And it kind of didn't. And I didn't know, because we didn't really have a lot of overlap. And it was closer to when he was quite sick, and he didn't want to see me. Had the roles been reversed, I probably would have said exactly the same thing. I don't think I would have wanted to see him either. And frankly, it had been a decade. What was there left to say? I didn't realize he probably needed a better explanation and better closure, but that should have come within the first couple years. It is too late a decade later. Because am I saying it, when people want closure, are you really saying it? Do you want closure for your benefit or for theirs? People will claim it's for somebody else's benefit, but sometimes it's often just your benefit. In which case, they don't owe you that. That has to be mutual. There are people who probably want closure with me, and I'm just don't worry about it. We don't have to have that conversation. And and then he died, and we got no closure. But I kind of felt like there was some karmic poetic justice to how he left this world that was eerily similar to perhaps how I left our marriage. In a large respect, I felt like, I believe in karma. I always have, and basically that has kept me out of trouble because I've understood the consequences of my actions. But that was one where I was like, you know what, I don't like it, but it's fair. And I had to make peace with him spiritually, and that took some time.
yes, I can relate with my ex-husband. I can very much relate to that of not finding closure, although he is thank God is not, he's still here on earth, but we live in different countries and um, he's never given me that closure. Well, I think that it would have benefited us. I think a year after I left, he had asked me to come back. And I said no, that I knew I was just hurt over some things that had happened in our marriage. And I felt like that time I'd made the right decision. And then funny enough, we both flew to the same country from different, he was in France, I was here in Miami. We both flew to the Dominican Republic on the exact same day, like a few years back. And I was like, this, we're given the opportunity to do this.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I didn't know. My
You
mother had
didn't know
told me.
you were both going to be there
No,
at the same.
my mom told me. My mom had talked to him and then she was talking to me and she's the one who told me. Yeah.
Oh,
And so I messaged
okay.
him. I was like, I think we need to have some closure. And he was like, I can't. And he has always been so hurt that I left that he would not talk to me.
Who
Even
instigated the divorce? You
I
did or
did.
he did?
I did. So yes, I feel that, and I've had to kind of accept that there would be no closure in that sense, the way that I felt like there needed to be, and I've had to go through that acceptance and just be okay with that, even though
Oh. And
we
you
were
would think
still
you're
kind of
like, oh, it's obviously a sign. And he's like, it's
yes,
not.
yes, and he believes in
Like,
that too. So when he was just like, yeah, I can't see you. I can't talk to you. It's like, and he's never even spoken to me on the phone except for when his mother died and I called to make sure he was okay. Other than that, we've never even spoken. And so
how long were you married?
we were married for 5 years only, but
And then how long after that divorce did that the DR incident happen?
good question. It probably 4 years, 3, 4 years.
I mean, he was also probably there with another woman. Like, it
He
would have
was
been
there with his
awkward.
daughter. He was there with his daughter.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
who
okay.
didn't like me anyway. She never liked me, and that was a part of the problem.
Uh, yeah, okay. That, like, yes, these things are significant. But I mean, in that, it's like, it's not, it's not the sit down and like, it's not the sentimental movie talk that you think is going to happen. Like it usually is like exactly the opposite. Like you thought you were gonna have some like beachside restaurant, like
Over a
beautiful
glass of wine.
conversation over at sunset where you hold each other's hands and you become best friends. All this like it makes for a great movie.
It does in
Yeah.
my head.
Like that is just not how life happens. Life happens exactly how it just happened for you and how it happened for me. Like that's the, which
That is
frankly is the more surprising movie. Like, it's like the movie
the plot
version's
twist.
predictable. Like, yeah, these are the plot twists. Movies are unimaginative. Their scripts are boring.
They
Like,
are
ask us. We've got better stories. The
so
end.
many stories.
Roll credits.
Oh, wow. There so many good stories, and I'm sure that you have so many from all the travels that you have taken and all the experiences that you've had, and it just really opens your eyes and it really brings you back into like understanding yourself, I think, on such a deeper level, like getting to know who you really are. And
I'm just like, I am the weirdest person I know. Like, I'm just like, like,
I love that
I'm like,
compliment
what
though.
is it like to observe me? Like, it must be fat. Like, cause I'm like, I
Fascinating.
watch my videos and I'm like, who are you? um, but yeah, I have at least finally grown into myself. Like, as weird as that is. Like, I think I was hoping to grow into like a normal person and it didn't happen. Another plot twist. But like, um, I got used to it. Like it's exhausting for me as well, but like now I'm like, all right, this is the avatar I have to work with in this lifetime, so we're just going to make it work.
And it's loving who you are. I think the 40s are the best years for that reason. It's like the 30s they're great. 40s, I'm like, girls, just wait. Wait till the
Yeah,
40s. Like
yeah,
40s are really when you get to know who you are. It's like it's when you really learn to love every aspect of yourself and really embody who you are at their
yeah.
fullest. Um,
My
mhm.
early 40s were rough though. My early
Were they?
40s were super rough. Yeah. But like that was how I got to the place I'm at now. So I think like there like you do arrive in a lot of respects, but I think like there is a lot of introspection and like you go through like massive disruptive transformation in your early 40s or somewhere around there. Mine started at 39 and like but on the other side of it it's like you come out so much better.
Yes, I my early 40s, you're right. My early 40s. How old was I when I got divorced? I think I was 39, actually. In my early 40s, I was doing this work in my 30s, and then after my marriage ended, I ended up thinking, so I yeah, I'm gonna go into it. So I had my psychic abilities were open when I was
Uh,
in my 30s, and I had a lot of visions. I was being guided the right direction. Like everything that I had ever been shown was guiding me towards what I was meant to do. And so when I had this vision of this man that was supposed to be, he was also, he was a healer. He was like very
oh,
well known. People look, he was somebody who I could see that I could do my work with in the future. Like we could work side by side and do our work. And I was receiving these visions telling me that I needed to go in this direction. It ended up being the worst decision probably ever in my life that I have finally accepted. And I have since found my own closure in because it's made me into the person that I am today. When I came back into this work, everything that I used to teach, I had to integrate. But there, there was definitely a spiritual warfare in that relationship. And what I've come to understand, and this is in my early 40s, is that when we are sometimes on our path to what we're here to do, our purpose, there are things that can be put in your way to stop you from stepping up into that greatness, from stepping up into your fullest. And those things um, can be relationships, as in mine.
yeah.
But it took me that time, and I shut down my psychic abilities during that relationship because I knew it had led me wrong because I didn't have the gift of discernment yet, and I had to go back and learn the gift of discernment and then reopen my abilities.
Yeah.
So that was a really, really rough period in my early 40s.
I feel like you just, in your own respect, just explained what happened to me as well. Like,
Really?
and I've never heard it explained that way, but actually, I mean, mine was moving to LA and then, yeah, a number, but it is always down to the relationships, right? It is down to the people because like that is where the point of a lot of that spiritual warfare is to inflict as much pain on you that you even turn on yourself and you self-destruct or you cannot access your abilities, you start to doubt your power, you constantly getting mixed messages and mixed signals on purpose. That's part of their strategy, and it's basically to keep you in this sort of loop and cycle. Like a lot of it is really scrambling your mind. Like that is
Yeah.
the objective of it. And yeah, and it comes through people, and then you have no idea who they're connected to, and how much is going on behind the scenes. And that is when, but I think still, like, that being said, for both of us, obviously neither of us were entirely shut down because both of us had our wits about us enough to get out, right?
Yes.
You realize that, like, wow, I made a really big wrong turn, but yeah, at the same time, in the grander scheme of things, and I do, this would have come as, little consolation to the version of myself even just a couple of years ago. But while those were the harshest battles I have ever gone through, I the person I became because of it has really taken me aback. And compared to the shadow of a person I feel like I was compared to who I am now, and the shadow of I always like, you always have some degree of your intuition when you can basically read people and read their energy. And, if you're a little claircognizant, like clairvoyant, clairaudient, like you still can basically read people, which has to a certain degree kept you safe. But yeah, those circumstances are, are terrifying. And then you realize you, you, but at the same time, you always kind of knew.
Yes.
You
So true.
did. You
That is so
did,
true.
right?
Yeah. And
You
you chose
kind
to
of
ignore it.
always knew.
Choose to
You
ignore
always
that.
knew because you were like, oh, we're going to go back to my first instinct that I had a couple of years ago. And we're going to just like, because it's not like you're like, I was wrong, but you were like wrong at like, yes, at an operational surface level, like at that very, very conscious, just sort of like, la, 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 la. Like that level. Yeah, you distracted yourself. But deep down inside, you weren't wrong about that person.
No, no, you're absolutely right. And that is something that my first intuition was run the other way. And I actually
Uh-huh.
did. I ran the other direction. And then I started receiving all these visions after the fact. And for me, I
Yeah.
was like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my gut is wrong. Maybe like this is what's right because I've never received the wrong visions before. And so I followed that instead of trusting my own intuition, my own knowing.
Yeah.
And I will not do
Yeah,
that
and
again.
often, and your abilities are definitely blocked when you are closer to that person. That's the point. So
Mm,
it's like when you actually have, then you definitely, throughout the years, I've gone through like massive upgrades, and continue to do so. I am still evolving very, very fast, but it's when you really remove yourself from the situation, it is very, uh, it it is very surprising how clear you can actually see what was going on when you have distance. It's actually when you're up close, you can't see it, and when you've got distance, you're like, you can see everything. You can see things you weren't
yeah,
supposed to see.
it is amazing. It really is to once you step away and literally as soon as I made that decision and got on the plane to leave, it was a fog that had been covering my vision. I saw it. It went from it like like it cleared in my vision. It was literally like a fog that had been there, and I saw it move across my eyes and left. Wild.
Oh, that is
Wild.
some like very, very deliberate spell work.
And then all of a sudden
And
I was like, I am so sorry. It's like I to myself, like I am
no, for
like,
sure.
yeah, I am
I
so
know.
sorry that I put you through that. Oh
Abandoned
my
you.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
And all parts of your body were screaming at you. Like nothing felt like you were just. But because these were decisions you technically made, and
yeah.
because you're constantly being gaslit by somebody and your brain scrambled,
Mhm.
you're over intellectualizing something that is very much like known in your psyche and felt in your body, and that should have been the only necessary information and facts you needed to gather.
Yes. Wild. Spiritual warfare, and I
Oh,
say it all the time in my work, spiritual warfare is real. It is a real thing. And I I will talk about that till probably the day that I die to bring that attention to people's awareness because it's definitely on a lot of different levels we can
yes.
experience spiritual warfare.
And I think people don't realize it often comes from people close to you. It often comes from friends and
Mhm.
boyfriends or even family at times. It comes from your own community. People think it is far away. I'm like, no, 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 no. It is close to you, but you can identify if you're really thinking about it. You know who those people are, and you know to identify them and get the hell away from them because like they are just succubus.
They are. They are. And do you have any suggestions for people who are in that position or that are in those spaces of the in between where they're needing or yes, I would say on a deep level they're needing to like just to have acceptance and find that closure. Anything that we've talked about today in regards to this,
Yeah.
do you have any suggestions?
I, I am not against religion. I think religion, because of how it's been used politically, has gotten a bad rap. Like I'm Hindu, and I've always been Hindu. I've never been confused about that. But I think I started to learn more. I really went back to it at a much deeper level and really started to like read more, listen more, research more, participate more. I don't really care what religion you pick. This isn't a competition. They all were basically saying the same thing. So I, because I think a lot of people don't understand it and they are ungrounded because they are also spiritually detached, if not completely void and vacant. And I think New Age spirituality is taking bits and pieces of Hinduism, of Buddhism, of Christianity, of Islam, and, sort of, and kind of like at a universal physics level of it all, um, and combining a lot of history and ancient civilizations. And I think when you start to put a lot of that together, you realize there's actually a lot of overlap. But you need to find God. Like, everybody needs to find God. I don't care what you call him, her, them. Like, I do not care. But, like, it's about that time. Like, if you are not tapped in, this is going to be a problem. This is not, you can't, like, Instagram your way out of this one.
I think that's a great suggestion because we are at a time in humanity where we can no longer be disconnected. We can't. We need to come back to our center. We need to find our balance. We need to connect with God. You said it, whatever name you want to use, doesn't matter. But creator and whatever sense that is for you, like connect, go deeper, be
Yeah.
present, know your truth. Because if you
And
don't know your
you
truth,
won't be alone.
yeah.
You're never
Yeah.
alone. Once you actually
No.
lock in, you're not alone. And then you can really lock in with other people. Like, that's
Mhm.
when you can actually hear the collective conscious. You can
Yeah.
actually hear and feel the vibration of people around the world waking up. That's coming in at different levels and tranches. And there are, people who are ahead of the game and people who are just starting that journey and people who are miles away from it, unfortunately. But it's happening, and it's happening all over the world. And I think at this point, like, if you don't believe that, I can't help you. I don't know how much more evidence you need. like,
I think
like,
science is
take a
even
look.
proving it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, just look at this intersection of history. Like, what do you think is going on? 'Cause it
Yeah,
looks like a reckoning.
it does.
Yeah, I don't know what like, call it whatever you want. But like, it's here. Like, it's begun. It's about that time. Like, it's showtime. like, pick a side.
It's been a great conversation and I'm like looking forward to more. So
Absolutely. Yes. No, there is a lot more to discuss. I know we still like stayed a bit on the surface, but
we
it's a
did,
good
and
start.
yeah, we do need to go deeper into these. So I would love to have you back on if you're open to
Oh,
that. And
absolutely.
yes. Oh, and we can go deeper. So for any of you who are listening in, who are watching, stay tuned because we will be back and we will be diving deeper into these conversations. In the show notes, I will the connection to Padmini's YouTube channel so you can follow her
Thank you.
adventures and learn through her wisdom. Until then, ciao.
Thank you.